Hey guys, Jordan here. Today we're going to be unboxing this Sony camera, which is the E10. Now, why did I pick up this camera? Because I believe that this camera might be the best entry-level camera for real estate photographers when offering video as well. Now, you can get a setup for real estate photography for around $400, which would include a Canon 70D with a 10 to 22 millimeter lens. But some people have a little bit more money to spend, but maybe they don't have enough money to spend that $2,000 or $3,000 realm of a full frame camera. Well, this camera just may be a great solution for somebody that doesn't want to spend a whole lot of money, or maybe wants to spend a little bit more than that entry-level budget camera and also be able to do video and photos with the same device. So let's go ahead and unbox it and see what it all entails. So this is the E10, but before I unbox it, I'll say, you know, I have this one. I mean, I get so confused with all these Sony names, but this is the ZV-1, and I really like this camera a lot, like the flip out. But you know, when creating certain types of content, it's nice to be able to swap out the lens, and that's where this one comes in handy. But I picked this one up for less than 700 bucks. I think it was like 679 bucks on sale on eBay, and I thought I'd give it a shot. So let's go ahead and unbox and see what we got. So as with every Sony camera, you got a whole bunch of literature when you first open the box. Just the cable, and you also have cords for non-US. Neck strap, I don't know if that's new for these kinds of cameras. You got a little wind muff for the built-in microphone that's on the top, and a smaller battery. It's the Sony MP-FW50 battery. And then you have a USB-C to USB charging cable. Now let's take a look at the camera itself. This is also a great option if you don't want to have a big bulky gimbal to be able to support a heavier camera. Wow, this thing is surprisingly light. And ZV-E10. So what are my first impressions? Well, I pretty much have almost every single Sony camera. I have an A1, A7S III, A7R4, A7R3, A7 III. You know, I'm very familiar with all these, but it is a different design for sure. It does seem slightly less quality. Maybe it's not bad though. Like maybe it just feels really light in the hand, but the screen looks great. It is different. I don't think I've had a Sony camera quite like this one. It is maybe a new design that Sony's going after. All right, so to not waste time waiting for this battery to charge up, I just hooked it up to a power bank. And yes, it did ship with an empty battery, and I took out the SD card from my ZV-1 just to give it a try here. So we got it turned on, got an SD card in there. Now let's throw a lens on there. Well, actually, before I do that, let me compare the size between a ZV-1. So this is kind of marketed as a ZV-1 with an interchangeable lens. Now this sensor size is bigger than this one. These ones come with a 1-inch sensor size, and this is an APS-C size, so it's slightly bigger. But from a size perspective, it's pretty close to being the same from the body part of things. So it's very similar in size. Obviously, the thing that kind of throws you off is the grip on this one, because it holds a significantly bigger battery. The grip is bigger, it has that bigger battery. These ones, the battery life is not that great, but it has a much smaller form factor because of the much smaller battery. This is basically a ZV-1 that's slightly bigger sensor and a slightly bigger grip for a bigger battery. The build quality of the body of the ZV-1, in my opinion, feels more premium. It has like a texture to it. This one's like very smooth, and it feels like it came out of a cheaper factory. And even the buttons on the back, it does feel the ZV-1 does feel a little bit more premium. But I'd have to look at the pricing. I can't remember what I paid for this one. They might be very close in pricing, so to get a bigger sensor. So let's throw on the 10 to 18 millimeter f4 lens. You know, I really like the screen on this. Obviously there's no viewfinder, you're kind of stuck with the screen, but for the most part for real estate, I mostly do look through the screen. But for real estate photography, this is a great option for both photography and videography. I'm going to test it in the field to just confirm that, but based on my experience with previous APS-C size sensor bodies from Sony, they do a great job. Hey guys, now we're here at the property and we're gonna put the ZV-E10 to the test at this particular home. And we're gonna be shooting in a specific way that this customer wants to be shooting, but obviously that's important to listen to your customers and how they want you to shoot their properties, even if it's not your normal way of shooting. But yeah, we got the ZV-E10 and we also have the Zeiss 10-18 f4 lens, so let's get started. All right, so we're gonna get started here with the center shot. All right, so let's move on to the kitchen, which is the first area that they want. Now, I really like this camera because it's super light and capable at the same time. My preferred real estate photography camera is the A7S III, but you know, on a budget camera, this thing will get the job done. One thing that I do notice with smaller sensor cameras with wider shot lenses, it does seem to have a little bit more distortion, just like if you go to like an iPhone lens on a wide angle shot, there's more distortion towards the edges than a full frame camera. Yeah, but I do like how light this camera is. It's really nice to move around. That's a nice thing also about this camera is it has a flip out tilting screen. But yeah, with this setup, I think I'm liking 11mm over the 10mm. 10mm does feel a little bit stretched out on the edges. All right guys, so now we're finished shooting this house. The last thing I'm gonna do before moving on to the next property is just to review all the shots and make sure that I didn't miss focus on any of them. There's been a couple times where I've gone home and I didn't review them and there was a shot that was critical, that was out of focus. Luckily I had another angle, but still you wanna make sure that you review all your shots before you go. And that is one difference between this one and some of the other cameras. There actually is no viewfinder, and a viewfinder can come in handy when it's super bright out like today, where you can easily review. Here I'm having to look on the screen and it's kinda, it's not bright enough, but I can still see. It's just a little bit more convenient to have the viewfinder to be able to review and make sure that all your shots are in focus. So, all right guys, so in summary, the ZV-E10 is a great entry-level camera for real estate photography. For most photography and video jobs, this thing can get the job done. It's not the tool that I would choose if you have a little bit more of a budget, but if you're just getting started out and you want to offer a lot of products as a real estate photographer, I think this is a great option for you. It shoots 4K, it's a 24 megapixel sensor, and you know, I've been very impressed with it. Now, there are a few things that I wish it had. I wish it did better at higher ISO settings. I wish it had a viewfinder, but you're not gonna find all the bells and whistles that you find on higher end cameras, so you just kind of got to keep that in mind. Now, when focusing on real estate photography, I like to think about the end product and what we're delivering to our customers, and I think this camera is a great option for that. All right guys, so if you're interested in learning more about the real estate photography business, you can check out my free workshop. The link is in the description below. That's going to do it for this one. Reach out if you have any questions. We'll see you guys on the next one.